Hello, welcome to another YouTube video by me, Ann Huber. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and here is my contact information right here. I'd love to be your demonstrator. If you don't have a demonstrator currently, you can contact me with any questions at this Gmail account. If you'd like to order, go to stampinup.com and you use this host code, and it'll connect it to me, Ann Huber. So let's get on with what we're going to talk about this evening. What's going on still in the world of Stampin' Up! Is Saleabration. And Saleabration is our biggest promotion of the year. It started on January 4th and goes through February 28th. And for every $50 you spend, you get something free out of this catalog. And there are stamp sets. There are papers to get. They're just wonderful things to get. And we're going to talk about just one thing in here tonight. We're going to talk about this Simply Marbleous paper that you can get free with a $50 order. It's a set of 6x6 papers. That's 6 inches by 6 inches, and you get 48 sheets. So you get 8 of each of these sheets that I'm about to show you. And they're called Simply Marbleous because one side's kind of marbly looking and the other side is more mottled. So this is a combination of the Balmy Blue and Misty Moonlight. This one has the Smoky Slate and Basic Gray. This one is Pool Party, Coastal Cabana. This one is Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape. This is Flirty Flamingo, Blushing Bride. And this one is So Saffron and Bumblebee. And what I'm going to show you tonight is how to make 2 cards from one 6x6 piece of paper. Okay, so let's get started. And besides making the 2 cards, we're going to make something a little extra also. So we're going to use the Gorgeous Grape Highland Heather piece, and we need to bring in my cutter. We're going to take this and put it into our cutter, and we're going to make our first cut at 3.5. Set this aside for a moment. We're going to turn this and cut this at 4 3/4. Like that. And then we're going to set this little piece aside. We're going to use it for something else a little bit later. Now we're going to bring this piece back in. This piece was 2.5 at the top. We're going to turn it this way and we're going to cut it at 5.5. And it leaves this little piece, and we're going to do something with this later too. I'm going to set it off to the side. So just to go over what these sizes are, just to make sure if I went too fast, of course, the joy of a video is you can go back and rewind. So I have this piece, 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I have this piece, 2.5 by 5.5. Okay. Now I'm going to mount both of these on white, and the 2 pieces of white that we need a piece of white that's 3 3/4 by 5. And this one is 2 3/4 by 5.5. I think I'll get rid of this cutter for a moment. We might need it again a little later, but we're going to get rid of it for now. And I'll get rid of my information too down here so that it makes things a little bit easier for you to see. All these sticky notes we'll get rid of too. So we're going to mount this on there. And this one on this one. Now, your choice of adhesive is totally up to you. I'm going to use some Tombow. It gives me a little bit of time to play with it. A little bit of wiggle room to get it set right on there. Let me lift it up here a little bit so I can really see what I'm doing. The camera's just a little bit in my way. Okay, I'll put that down right there. Just give that a little press. Now let's go on to this one. Our card bases are going to be Highland Heather. You can make a card base any color you want. This is going to be a very monochromatic sort of project. Okay, I have 2 card bases ready to go. Okay, as I said, they are Highland Heather, and I'm going to put this long strip. This one I already stamped happy birthday. Obviously, you could make it a thank you card. You could make it about anything you wanted. And as I told you, this is very monochromatic. So this, I stamped this in Highland Heather on Highland Heather. So it's not super, doesn't really stand out, but you could easily stamp that in black. I do a lot of my sentiments in black. So I'm going to put that right in there. Pretty easy so far, right? Now, I punched out some daisies earlier from this punch. I like to do a lot of the work for my videos ahead of time because you can always, email me, ask me questions if there's something you don't understand. I think I'll get those 3 put right about there. I don't think you really need to watch me punch out, punch paper. I'm pretty sure you all know how to do that. So now the placement of these is just kind of up to you. Then I think I'll do one of them up on dimensionals. Now I'm going to take our sprig punch and I'm going to punch some leaves, some little branches. I do not know what shade of green this is because the shade of green, at this particular reason, did not matter to me what shade of green. I just wanted green leaves. So I went into my scrap. Stampin' Up! Has had so many shades of green over the years. It's really a little bit overwhelming how much shade of green they've had over the years. So I have a whole scrap of different shades of green. So I'm going to take these and I'm not even sure where I'm going to put these. I'm just going to kind of start to stick them underneath different places. I punched out 4. I know I'll use 3. Maybe I'll use 4. I don't know for sure. Maybe just 3. Oops, I can't see the happy birthday well enough there. There we go. I think I'll leave it like that. Okay. Now I think I am going to need some little bling. I'm going to need some centers for these flowers. So I think I will use something from my stash, but there's so many things you could use. You could just punch out little circles of green or purple or yellow, whatever. Whatever you wanted in your centers. It could be a little bit of glitter glue, could be anything. And I think, folks, we are done with that card. Look how cute that card is. Okay, let me set that aside. I'll bring it back later to show you. So we're going to get to this one now. This one's going to be very simple. Now you could embellish it more if you wanted to, but I'm going to keep it really simple. That is crooked. There we go. See how that glue gives me a little second? Now I'm just going to put this happy for you on here, but I'm going to use this tag punch, and I'm going to punch each end of it a little bit. Now let's see, which one did I like? I think I was going to use this one right here, okay? There are 2 different punches here, and each punch actually has 3 different sizes. So it matters on just how you slide it in there, whether you slide it in the narrow slot, the medium slot, or the largest slot. And I still always look on this side to make sure that I have it centered, to make sure I didn't, put the piece of paper in kind of funky or whatever. Okay, so we're going to punch that. Then I'm going to put in the other side. And I'm going to turn it over to make sure it's centered. That looks good. So that's a nice little we have there, and I'll put some dimensionals on that. I think I'll put 3 dimensionals on it. And let's see, I think we'll put that, make sure it's centered. This one's going to be a very clean and simple card, as they call it. So you could leave it just like that if you wanted to, but feel free to do anything you wanted. If you wanted to add, you know, a little bit of leaf behind here, if you wanted to add a daisy to it, you could. This one, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of bling, like right here and right here, and be done with it. Keep it nice and simple. I really do like simple cards. Now, these are a little bit dark, this Highland Heather, so I would suggest you probably want to put a piece of white paper on the inside here so that you can write on it easier. So, I'm not done yet. I have to tell you what we're going to do with my little scraps that I have left. So I want to bring these back in to show you the 2 cards that I just made for you. But I want to show you how I made a set of cards from every color in this set of papers. Each one's a little bit different because I embellished them just a little bit different. Oh my goodness, talk about fun making these. Did not take me that long to make them. And I just used whatever I could find. Look at this very pale green here. I don't know what color green that is, but I found it in my scraps. And I thought it would look so springy, maybe, you know, Easter-like. Look at them all. Oh, they're so pretty. I don't know which color I like best. Honestly and truly, I don't know. So, I said we were going to do something with all these scraps. So I had a lot of these scraps. I had these scraps out of every color. So let me show you what I did. Okay. I took all those scraps and I made this slimline card. Isn't that pretty? We don't like to waste things in Stampin' Up, do we? And then the little scraps, the little thin, just half-inch strips, I made this pretty little tag with. Oh my goodness, isn't everything there just beautiful? Okay, but I still have one more thing to show you before we finish. Whew, let's get all these picked up. Oh my goodness. So one thing that a lot of us have enjoyed doing lately, we've enjoyed making slim line cards. You know, kind of these tall and thin cards. Okay. These cards that are 3.5 by 8.5. We just take a cardstock that is 7 by 8.5 and score it at 3.5, and we get these nice tall cards that fit into a business size envelope or Stampin' Up sells envelopes they'll fit into. So we really like these cards. Now the downside is we also really like the 6x6 papers. And you might think, oh, gee, you can't use the 6x6 papers. They're not big enough for this. So I'm going to show you a cute little trick that you can do with any of our 6x6 papers, but I'm going to stick with the Marbleous paper. So this is all ready to go already as a slimline card, but we're going to alter it just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put this in the trimmer, make sure it's in the screen here. And I'm going to go over to 1.5 right here. And I'm going to cut down to my score line. Okay, so I have to be right over the top of it. Being able to see right down to the score line. Yep. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Go into 1.5. And go right to the score line again. Yep. Okie doke. So I'm all done with my cutting tool. Now, what I'm going to do, so this is what you have, okay? You might think, oh, what did you do that for? Okay. Well, these 2 flaps right here, I'm going to glue down. So let's glue that down. Okay, so it's still a slimline card, but only this middle section opens up. So it gives us a little smaller area to decorate. Still gives us the nice bold slimline, but a little bit smaller area to decorate. So we're going to cut some paper. So the paper to put in the middle here is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then we need a couple little strips to go at the outside edges here, and they're 3 1/4 by 1 1/4, and we need 2 of those. Now remember, there's 2 different sides, so why don't we mix this one up a little bit? Why don't we put this marbled side at the edges here? That little panel fits perfectly right there. And I took the liberties to kind of decorate, get things a little bit prepped, like I like to do. So this one, we could put this side right there, and that would look pretty. But I decided to flip this over, and I'm going to use the opposite side of the paper. And I've already stamped it with the happy, happy, happy birthday. And I use this stamp set, which I have really enjoyed using because it's for birthday, it's for thanks, it's just for an all-occasion thinking of you type card. And let's get that right where it belongs. And then we're going to add to it some flowers that I already have them made. I use the same daisy punch, and then I have a small daisy punch. I think I'll place them around a couple places. I think I'll put the big one up on dimensionals. Maybe put it right about there. Oh, let's place these. I don't know. They could go just about anywhere your little heart desires. There's no right or wrong. And it can kind of go over this edge a little bit here where it's going to open. There's nothing wrong with that. And where'd the other one just get off to? Right here. Maybe put it down there. Looks like I need some little centers for the little ones. I have a couple more of these green centers. I was just looking through my stash of what I had. So again, it could be anything you wanted to put in the middle. So it's not that unusual for me to, once I have some product out, some stuff out, that I kind of make some similar looking cards. So once I was punching out these daisies, I just thought I'd kind of keep going. Oh, I've got these daisies here, and the Marbleous paper. Let me just keep going with that. So this is kind of an interesting way to make a slimline card, but you can still use your 6x6 paper on it by cutting it up. And again, you could write right on here if you wanted to, or you could put a piece of white cardstock on the inside to maybe make it a little bit easier to write on. But I really think you could write right on here. That's just totally personal preference. Okay, so before I leave, let me remind you of my name and our hostess code for the month. And please let me know what you thought of this video. And if you have any questions, contact me at my Gmail account or order from me at StampinUp.com with this hostess code. Thank you.